Did you know, in reference to longevity, that 2 grams of omega-3 fatty acids per day can add 5 healthy years to your life? 2,000 IUs of vitamin D, which is a low amount, can add 3 years of healthy life. So I just shared 8 years of health and immune health by taking 2 supplements, not including the change in exercise, the change in sleep, the change in stress, and putting you on a health promoting diet.
Welcome to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. I'm your host, LaMont Leavitt. In a world overflowing with noise, confusion, and distraction, we're here to cut through the clutter and explore bold, unique paths to a longer, healthier, and more vibrant life. Through candid conversations with business leaders, wellness experts, industry pioneers, and innovators, we'll uncover insights to help you discover your own personalized, unique approach to thriving. Tune in, trust the compass of wisdom within, and find your fountain of vitality. Hello, welcome to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. I'm your host, LaMont Leavitt, and we're excited today to have with us Dr. Robert Silverman. He's the author of the Amazon's number one bestseller, Immune Reboot, and we're so excited to have him with us today and learn from him. Dr. Rob, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Lamont. I'm excited to share some knowledge bombs and talk about longevity. I think it is, without question, the incisive conversation of 2026.
So, Dr. Rob, I want to live till I'm 100 or even past that, especially if my quality of life can be solid and good. What are some of the emerging things that you're seeing? What are people trying? What works? What doesn't work? Love to get some of your thoughts.
Yeah, I love to dive right in the deep end of the pool. I agree with you. What works? Change in lifestyle, change in diet. So the American diet is called SAD. It's an acronym, Standard American Diet. It's just that bad. So we've got to change the way we start with that, because good food is a potentiator for health information. Bad food is a potentiator for inflammation. And many Americans are suffering from too high levels of inflammation. So what foods do you recommend? What do you do? We're going to use the power of one today. The power of one is, at every junction, we're going to do one thing differently. And that one thing we're going to do is we're going to remove ultra-processed foods. 57% of Americans consume ultra-processed foods. We're going to bring that down, like the food guide or the food pyramid just said, to about 15%. You do that, you're on a health-promoting plan. Some other things you're going to do with the power of one: exercise. If you have to do one thing and one kind of exercise, get moving. If you want to look at the highest longevity determination, it's if you move and how well you move. So everybody, let's get moving. Let's start building some muscle mass, because muscle mass is your longevity organ. And environment, do one thing: get a filter, get a water filter, get an air filter, do something to take all these chemicals that we're exposed to in our environment away. So that power of one really becomes now an exponential increase in health outcomes.
That's awesome. Dr. Rob, what's one or two examples of people that have followed your advice and have made a fundamental change in their life and their outlook on life?
Well, there was somebody who was facing taking GLP-1s. And I'm not anti-GLP-1s. Maybe we can segue a little later into GLP-1. It's for weight loss. It's for body composition. But the drug has a lot of side effects. It's not something that I would recommend for many or most. That said, this particular individual says, I want to go the natural route. So I gave him the power of one, implemented specific things. He was very compliant with the needed changes. I'm only as good as a doctor as the compliance of my patients. And a year later, he was 56 pounds down, 9% body fat down, and he was off all medications, taken off by his medical doctor in a 12-month period. So something like that is very possible and very plausible for the American population. All they have to do is make small, subtle changes and start understanding the idea that health is wealth.
A lot of times, as a person doesn't realize that they're being held back by their own body. I had that happen just last year. I was having trouble working out because my knee needed to be fixed, or and I couldn't do push-ups because of my shoulder needed to be fixed. It's important to figure out if you're changing how you move around, and you realize, listen to your body; it's talking to you. Get it fixed so you can start moving.
You really speak volumes. You're really resonating with me because I am a chiropractor by trade, and I ventured into this concept of functional medicine, which applies the idea of root causes resolution with a multimodal treatment approach. So it's basically nutrition and lifestyle in my right hand, chiropractic and joint health in my left hand. Together, they make the health handshake. So you are specifically speaking to me when you say that, hey, you know what? If you could help me fix my knee, you can give me some longevity in my full body because the body is all interconnected.
It really is. It really is. And I didn't even realize how much it was holding me back with my health, with these problems. Once you get those resolved, you can really move forward, and start walking again, and having a whole different attitude on life just by getting your health together.
And you feel better. And I think that puts you in a health promoting mindset. I mean, it's frustrating to be in pain. It's frustrating when your body escapes you. It's one thing to add years to your chronological and biological self. I mean, I'm 60. I can't do what I did at 30, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean I can't do what I would normally do for an average 40-year-old.
Right.
I'm going to get some hate mail on this one. I have a lot of my friends that say, I'm in better shape at 60 than it was at 30. Well, you know what? You weren't in good shape at 30 then, because there is a little bit of a debt to pay. But that's okay, because I look at my dad at 95 and he goes to work every day. Nothing stops.
That's awesome.
Nothing stops him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about some things that might help someone that's struggling with. I hear a lot of people complaining about brain fog, and they worry that they might get Alzheimer's. And what are some things they can do with their lifestyle and diet to offset that?
Well, I do believe that everybody's really concerned about neurodegenerative disease, but Alzheimer's specifically is very interesting in that it is a immune dysfunction of the brain, but the attack comes from the gut. So we need to have things that we do in our lifestyle that promote gut health, like good food. So let me give you an acronym, and everybody could write this down. The first acronym I recommend is GPS. So that means no gluten. Sorry, everybody. No ultra-processed food, and no added sugar. It looks like the new food pyramid, which is really, really a positive thing. The other acronym is DNA. No dairy, which is on the food pyramid. I do disagree with that. We're the only species that wants to drink another species' milk. I don't see it. Mom used to tell me milk makes mucus. She was right. And nicotine patch, any way you slice it, any way you take it, it's very detrimental. It is not a good choice. I know it's very popular now. And the A is artificial sweeteners. No artificial sweeteners. The third acronym is IRS, Inflammation Reduction Strategies. Hear me out. No processed seed oils, no soybean oil, no canola oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil are really, really good choices. Avocado oil are good choices. Just using the grill and adding onions and lemon so it slides and doesn't stick is a great choice. That would be number one. No deep fried foods. Everybody in the South is going to yell at me now. I get it, right? Yankee, go home. I'm good. And the last one is, you should really avoid food sensitivities. And that's one of the big tests that I would recommend for people to take to really start on their health promoting plans. No food sensitivities, because I believe that having a food sensitivity, not necessarily a food allergy, is one of the biggest reasons for chronic hidden inflammation. So that would be the first thing I would start with, the food. Secondly, believe it or not, it comes back to the same thing. Exercise. 20 minutes a day is something. Go for a walk. Go for a walk every time you have a meal for 10 minutes. That adds up to 30 minutes of exercise. A great choice. In addition to that, I would also recommend a couple of quick supplements to take to help your gut, which would be simply a pre and probiotic. A probiotic is good bacteria. A prebiotic is a fiber that feeds the probiotic so that probiotic can flourish and leave something called a postbiotic, which allows for a anti-inflammatory intestinal milieu. i.e., a health promoting intestine. 80% of our immune cells are in our gut. It's where our macro foods, micro, vitamins, and minerals are absorbed. I believe the gut is the epicenter of your health. All your health should be based around promoting gut health.
With the great thing about gut health that I love, Dr. Rob, is sometimes uh, for me too, when I've got my gut solid, there'll be other little side symptoms that get better in your life just because you've solved that. So go for the core, go for the gut. It's a great place to start.
I think you're speaking about the idea of the gut to brain axis, because whatever you do to your gut, you do to your brain. Whatever you do to your brain, you do to your gut. It's bi-directional. So it's really
Makes
interesting.
sense.
Like you said, if your gut is solid, if it feels stable, if it's calm, your brain's going to feel calm. So there's been multiple studies that have shown that many of the mental health symptoms like anxiety, bipolar, and depression are affected most commonly by the foods that you eat. So I always tell a joke. I want to go back and talk to my teachers before I took my SATs and say, banana, carbohydrates, not the greatest thing, up and down, avocado, a really good thing. Why didn't they tell me that? Mom, I could have made Harvard if I just had an avocado instead of a banana.
We didn't know.
We didn't know, but we know now. So now that we know, it's incumbent on everybody to be a little bit more health responsible.
What kind of, as far as good foods, as far as their sourcing, know where your food comes from is a big piece of that too.
Absolutely. I'm a big organic food person. I'm a big believer in that. Free range chicken and eggs. I know some people find organic prices a little bit of a stretch, but you can go to your local farmer. What you want to do is get pesticide free, pesticide limited, free of chemical food. So once you do that, what kind of foods do you want? You know what? If it walked on the earth, it was grown in the ground, it's a great choice. I've heard somebody once say that if it's a plant grown in the ground, great. If it's made in a plant, don't eat it. It's just as simple as that. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins are your choices. Just avoid those ultra processed foods.
Yeah, and even I mean, if you have the capability, um, know where your meat's coming from.
No question.
I have a cousin I like to buy meat from. I know where the cattle is out on the. I know what he feeds them. I know what they eat, and I know what he doesn't stick them with steroids and stuff. That I have a daughter that the only meat she likes is when she comes to eat at our house because it comes from that farm.
Without question. So you're looking at grass-fed
Right.
meats, cattle's, bison. You're looking at wild-caught salmon, which is rare, wild-caught salmon. But some of the other ones, the acronym you would want to remember for fish or wild-caught fish would be SMASH: salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, herring. Definitely look at there's a food list that calls the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 on vegetables. So essentially, vegetables and fruits. So essentially, a fruit that's encased in the skin doesn't necessarily have to be organic. So let's give you an example. A banana, great example. You have to peel the skin away to get to the fruit. So it's probably relatively protected. Whereas a strawberry or blueberry really should be organic or pesticide free because you chew the skin with the fruit. You adhere to those concepts, you've made a big step forward on your health plan.
And like you said earlier, Dr. Rob, you got to start somewhere. Start making changes. Don't be overwhelmed by it all and say, "How could I change all this?" Well, just start one thing at a time and do those things that are the easiest to do first.
One thing at a time will exponentially lead you to a health promoting state. And it's fun too. Everybody thinks like if you change your diet has this word, it's so detrimental, so
Negative.
Yeah, they think it's like a jail term. It's not. It's what you eat is your diet. And there's such a bevy of choices out there of good quality foods. And that's the biggest thing. Don't be afraid or don't be upset if you don't eat the best food. So there's a little chart that I tell everybody. There's good, better, best. So you always want to do good. You want to try and do better. But our ultimate goal is to do our best. So as long as we're in 1, 2, or 3, we're in a good state. And if you get off the train, tomorrow's a new day.
Right. And what's fun is when you improve your diet and you spend a couple of days eating better food, and then you just have this relapse. You're like, I'm just in the mood for a burger and fries and just that greasy stuff. And then, or a greasy pizza. And then you get home and go, I don't feel good. You listen to your body. It'll tell you what it can take and not take. So
Absolutely. I want to piggyback on that because that's a really salient, great point in that people will know once you eat the good stuff, you'll know your body will tell you this is the bad stuff. Our bodies are wonderfully constructed. They're great compensators for things. So if you're on a bad diet, you may not realize how bad that diet is till you introduce really healthy promoting foods. But at
right.
that point, like you said, the greasy pizza, the Domino's pizza, not the cauliflower pizza with free range chicken on top and organic tomatoes and stuff like that, which by the way tastes great. One of the biggest things
Yeah.
when I tell people to go gluten and dairy free is they think there's nothing to eat. But you don't lose any food, you lose the processing of the food that is so deleterious to everybody's overall health. So let's not forget, you're not losing. You can just eat from the food rainbow daily.
Yeah. A lot of times I talk to kids that are in college and they're just eating whatever's processed and fast and quick. And their attitude is like, oh, it doesn't affect me at all. And then they'll either have a gut problem or a weight challenge or other brain and anxiety about in testing and stuff because they've been ignoring their health, their gut. So but it does catch up with them at some point.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be interesting if you and I went back to college and ate the way we did in college? What would happen to us now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
So youth is wasted on the college student's diet, I guess, right?
I guess. Feeling a bit invincible when you're that age, and we've all been there.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Anyway, well, tell me about your book, Immune Reboot. Kind of what's in there. What are some packed things there that you feel help people?
I wrote Immune Reboot and it was published in November of 2022 because I was a little disenchanted with the explanation being performed on the television on how the immune system worked. And it really irked me because I really thought that the population, the American population, was deserving of a better explanation. So that is the reason that I wanted to talk about the immune system. The reason I called it Immune Reboot is it's got a red dot or a red button. Boom, you can press the red button and guess what happens? You can reboot your immune system. The immune system you have today is not the same immune system you can have in 30 days because there's something called immune rejuvenation. You can break down your immune cells, use that debris to make new immune cells. So it's conceivable that you and I in 30 days will have a healthier immune system. Once we do that immune rejuvenation, we want to balance the immune system because the balance or the lack of balance in the immune system leads us down a slippery, unhealthy slope. Once you balance the immune system, you can support the immune system. Then you have a resilient immune system. Resilient to what? Resilient to attacks. I call resilience like defense on basketball. You move your feet and you're defending, allowing somebody in the painted area, if you will. And lastly, and now we're going to take a step up with this, one giant step up, we're going to talk about immune compromise. If your immune system is compromised, it will get confused and will lead you down a path of autoimmunity. I believe in the reference of longevity, that having a resilient, robust immune system is the master switch to have longevity, health span, and improved vitality.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'd love to see more people pay attention to the immune system. So for those people today that have an anti-inflammatory or a immune system's attacking some part of your body, um, where would you recommend starting? Because I know some feel kind of like they've given up on feeling better ever.
Well, first, don't give up. Tomorrow can always be a better day. And without question, our body system enables us to get rid of old sick cells and make new healthy cells. So number one, it's funny, I was complaining. I have a couple of things on health going on because it happens to everybody. And I was sitting with my friend. I call him the 800 SAT guy. because he didn't get 800 on the one score. He got an 800 on the total, but nobody is more eclectic than him. And he looked at me and he said, just remember, you lose everything when you lose your mindset. So everybody, if you're not feeling well, I know sometimes it's not easy, don't lose your head. Number 2, start with a better diet. Number 3, get moving and exercise. And here's some immune enhancing supplements. These are immune enhancing. Number 1, as good as gold, vitamin C, hasn't changed. Another vitamin that's critical is vitamin D, vitamin D3, but you should always take D3 with K2. Vitamin D performs a swath of health promoting properties. It's great for immune health. It's great for your knee and musculoskeletal health. Did you know there's a receptor site on every cell in your body for vitamin D3? So what does that say? It shouldn't be called a vitamin. It should be called because it has so much power in promoting health. And last but not least, if you're going to take vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids. Did you know, in reference to longevity, that 2 grams of omega-3 fatty acids per day can add 5 healthy years to your life? 2,000 IUs of vitamin D, which is a low amount, can add 3 years of healthy life. So I just shared 8 years of health and immune health by taking 2 supplements, not including the change in exercise, the change in sleep, the change in stress, and putting you on a health-promoting diet. The blueprint is there for everybody to implement. Everybody should take that blueprint and put it in their instruction manual and apply it today.
Now, on that vitamin D3, something I had a doctor tell me is a lot of people don't realize there's a percentage of the population that struggle with vitamin D assimilating into their body, and some need to take more than others even. So,
great point. So let me piggyback on that.
Yeah.
46% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D3. Now, understand these deficiency numbers are based on an unhealthy population, not a healthy population. The numbers I would like to see, probably 8 out of 10 people coming in my office minimally are deficient in vitamin D3. So the key, you have to take vitamin D3, not D2. So there's still some confusion. I don't know why. That's number 1. Number 2, you've got to take the vitamin D3 if you're taking it as a supplement it is a fat-soluble vitamin. You have to take it with fat. Well, so that's number 1. Number 2, do it in divided doses, and you should have no problem. I think that's the biggest problem. I think people don't take it with food. They take it separately on its own on an empty stomach. It's not going to be digested or absorbed appropriately.
Okay. So when you look on your vitamin bottle, D2 versus D3, what are some of the differences in those two?
I'm going to make this very epigrammatic. D3 is for people with a vertebra, like you and I, and D2 are for plants.
Okay.
So we're done. D3. I don't know where they get the D2 from. It's a little puzzling to me, but nevertheless, D3.
D3. Okay. Sounds great. GLP-1s. I've heard a lot about those. Tell me pros and cons and your perspective.
You know, the GLP-1 is taking the world by storm without question. And understandably, because they promise you what? Weight loss. Terrific. But here's the problem with the GLP-1. You're going to lose about 40% of your weight from muscle mass. Muscle mass is the currency of longevity. It's your baseline conversation. How do you know somebody's age? Yeah, we get a receding hairline, male pattern baldness, gray hair, but that happens at some point to many different people. What is the telltale sign? The loss of muscle mass. So these GLP-1s have a 40% loss of muscle mass. Did you know, in comparison, if you just arbitrarily dieted and didn't know what you were doing and cut calories, you only lose 20% of your muscle mass in a year. Did you know that if you do nothing, and as we age, we lose 0.8% of muscle mass? So, no pun intended, losing muscle mass with Ozempic is very, very common, and it's one of the biggest detractions. In addition, let's delve into those numbers. Is it just skeletal muscle? No. It's heart muscle reduction. It's heart muscle cell reduction. How are you going to get your heart muscle to grow back 40%? It's probably not going to happen in a lifetime. And in this study that I'm referring to, it did not discern whether it was lean or fat person, everybody loses 40% of their muscle mass approximately, and everybody loses 40% of their heart muscle mass and heart muscle cell. So, with that
Wow.
taken into consideration, let's talk about weight loss. So, the studies are done by the companies. So, you take an Ozempic, and the average person on Ozempic who completes a year, and I say that because I'm going to give you a caveat at the end, completes the year of taking the medication, loses on average 19 pounds and 2.5 inches in your waist. Are you kidding me? We could do that in half the time and more effectively with no loss of muscle mass. Give me a break. I am from New York. You got to do better than that. So they try and do better. They double down on the Ozempic, and they use something called Wegovy. And Wegovy loses 27 pounds over the full year and 3.5 inches. I still think we can do better. Now, what's interesting is in the real world, I only can include the people that walk in my office. Not everybody goes through a treatment protocol. 8 out of 10 people in those studies dropped out. You think those people dropped out because they were getting results, or they dropped out because of the side effects, which are ragingly high in reference to nausea, depression, and just basically stomach and gastrointestinal upset. 1 out of 10 of them, they microdosed, and that didn't have a plan. So 8 out of 10 people were removed from the study. So those are the 20% of the winners. So where are we going with this? I don't get it. I mean, you're spending a ton of money to lose muscle. There are some people that have benefited from it, but if you don't adhere to a lifestyle change, whether you take it or not, you're not going to have long-term weight loss, period.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I know everyone wants to look better and lose weight, and it's so important to start with what you can control, and like you said, moving, walking, and all those things.
Lamont, there are natural GLP-1 stimulators. You know what's the beauty of the GLP-1? It's not new, but it speaks volume to something I said before about the idea of the gut communicating with the brain. The gut has a GLP-1 receptor site in the Leydig cells of the intestines. Okay, I'm not going to go into the rabbit hole. That communicates with a GLP-1 receptor in the dorsal medial hypothalamus, your brain. And the impulse from your gut to your brain is conveyed by a receptor site on your vagus nerve. So whatever you do to your gut, you do to your brain. We said that before. Gut on fire means brain on fire. Brain on fire means gut on fire. But there are natural options to stimulating the GLP-1, like berberine, ginseng, green tea, specific probiotic strains like Akkermansia, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, glutamine, eating more protein, fermentable fiber, and lastly, something called bitter melon. Did you know that there's a bitter receptor site in your gut that stimulates a GLP-1? So guess what shuts down GLP-1? Something that's sweet or very sugary. So sugar, the white poison, keep it out of your system.
Wow. That's important not to have it there. So next 5 to 10 years, what do you see? People need to take control of their health and need to get past just hoping they can go take a pill and everything's just solved. They got to be responsible. But where do you see this going in the next 5 to 10 years, and people and their willingness to take care of themselves?
Yeah, I see the field going towards that concept that we mentioned earlier about root causes resolution. So when I first got into the concept of functional medicine, it was root cause. It was one thing. Now, because there's so many things going on in the outside world, it's root causes resolution. So people are going to seek out a functionally based doctor who not looks at that root causes, but also adheres to the concept of a multimodal treatment protocol. So more protocols and uses and devices. What device comes to mind to help health, joints, and overall gut health? That would be a non-thermal, FDA-cleared, low-level laser. It is not red light therapy. That is just simply an LED that heats an area or heats your sauna. A non-thermal, low-level laser that has FDA clearances for decreased pain and increased range of motion is going to be the choice, because it allows for what we call the electromagnetic transfer of energy, and to take it to the next step, allowing you to donate photons from a visible light source into your body, stimulates mitochondria, stimulates brain function, helps with neurological function, allows the body to have a balance, homeostasis, and allows the body to have an interconnected moment. So it would, without question, root cause resolution, multimodality devices, and I think health detectables. I think these health detectables are really going to be critical. Oura rings and continuous glucose monitors and Apple Watches, they're just the start.
So all these devices you're talking about, are you seeing these in prototype being worked on, or you can see that's kind of the next stage in your mind?
I think they're there, and I think we're going to take it to the next level. I think that people are going to they are looking for things to do. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I think the American population is frustrated with the medical model, because the medical model is sick care. It's not health care.
Right.
It's disease care. It's system-based, because they look at symptoms. And when you look at a symptom and all you do is attack a symptom, you're basically putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Again, it's always, I went and I have an issue, I'm in pain. Okay, they can address the pain. But what's the cause? I mean, how many pain relieving supplements can I take? What's the cause? And I think that's it. And I think that right now that the docs don't have the time to spend with the patient. And the biggest complaints that I get are, where do you get your information? Who do you trust? And how do I implement that? I think if you can answer those three things, or have those three answers, you've got a great practitioner sitting in front of you.
So don't give the final word of advice I guess we can give to people is, don't give up. Where you're at, but move forward. Adding quality of life to those years. I mean, if you want to live to your 100, it's like you mentioned to me earlier, Dr. Rob, you don't want to spend the last 20 years of your life just existing, if it can be better quality of life.
You want healthspan, but you want vitality. Jim Rome said something great once. I'm sure he said a lot of things, but one sticks out in my mind. He said, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.
Yeah, perfect. That's a great way to end. Hey, doctor, thanks so much for your time today. If people want to get a hold of you, we'll have that out in the Vitality.
Great, appreciate that.
Well, but where can they track you down if they want to buy your book or get to connect with you?
You can get my book on Amazon.com, bookbabies.com, and you can follow me or contact me at Dr. Robert Silverman, my website.com, and that's all my social media channels as well. Look forward to hearing from you.
Great. Hey, thanks again, Doc.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. Head to fountainofvitality.com for more episodes, insights, and resources. Remember, your health is yours to own. Take charge, focus on what you can control, and keep exploring what works for you. Always be your best self, lift others, and trust the compass of wisdom. Until next time, stay vibrant and take care.